Welcome to Movement, Rhythm, and Conversation, the show where we delve into the profound impact of religion, spark provoking conversation, explore the world through an open-minded perspective. I'm your host, Tafari, here to bring you engaging discussions, eye-opening stories, and conversation that pulls no punches. Whether it's faith, culture, creativity, or real-life experience, we keep it raw, honest, and unfiltered.
According to a recent study, y'all got to hear this, African Americans currently have nearly $2.1 trillion in collective buying power. Did y'all hear what I said? $2.1 trillion. So the report stated that African Americans were more aggressive consumers, now hear this, of media, and they shop more. It goes on to say blacks watch more television, make more shopping trips, purchase more ethnic beauty and grooming products, and spend more time at personal hosted websites than any other group. Okay, before I go any farther, listen. I want you to look good. I want you to smell good. So don't think that because I say we shop more that you should not look and smell good. Take care of that. Before we go any farther, some of this, it may hit home. Nobody will ever know unless you let them know, all right? But I don't want you to see this as a dagger being thrown. I want you to see this as a dagger being removed. African Americans favorite smaller retail outlets like drugstores, convenience stores, dollar stores, and beauty supply stores, which are often owned by other ethnicities, but cater mostly, if not solely, to our community. So our money is spent on electronics, utilities, grocery, and footwear. We spend a lot less on health care and pensions. I just cussed when I said pensions, okay? So while the numbers indicate that African Americans are an important part of the buying public, companies spend just 3% of their marketing and advertising budget on African American consumers. Why? They say, or they assume, that we gonna buy, that we don't even have to spend our money advertising on them because they're gonna buy our product.
That was an audio clip from the Grace Tube podcast. Welcome to Movement, Rhythm, and Conversation. I'm your host, Tafari, where we challenge the narrative that have kept us bound for far too long. Today, we're tackling a hard truth. Why can't the Black community get itself together economically? We know the history of slavery, Jim Crow, redlining, and mass incarceration. Every system was designed to hold us back. But at what point do we stop blaming the white power structure as the only reason for our struggle? When do we start looking inward and asking why our money leaves our neighborhoods within ours, while other communities, Jewish, Asian, Indians, even immigrant Russians, keep theirs circulating for weeks, building businesses, banks, and generational wealth? This episode will explore why Jesus is often the only thing too many of us possess and why that needs to change. So stay tuned because it's time to unchain your mind, reclaim your soul. Let's get into it. For generations, we've known that the white power structure in America has worked tirelessly to keep us oppressed, from slavery to sharecropping, from redlining to mass incarceration. Every era has aimed to stunt our economic growth. That fact cannot be denied. But in 2025, we also need to ask ourselves, how long will we keep blaming the system without fixing the issues within our own community? How long will we keep pointing fingers without taking action. According to the U.S. Census, the median household income for black families is about, let's say, $57,000, while white household average around $93,000. The gap is significant, but what makes the number even more troubling isn't just the income disparity, it's how money flows, or doesn't flow, through our neighborhoods. The black dollar, on average, leave our community within 6 hours. In contrast, in Jewish communities, the dollar circulates for up to 20 days, while in Asian and Indian communities, money stays within the community for weeks. This is economic circulation. That's how wealth grows. But when it comes to us, we spend, but we don't reinvest. Walk through any predominantly black neighborhood and ask yourself, who owned the businesses here? Koreans own the liquor store, Indians own the gas station, Russians or Arabs own the pawn shop and corner stores. Asians dominate the beauty supply shops. Only thing many of us truly claim ownership over is the church. We own Jesus. But even then, the money from those pews often end up funding mega pastors' lifestyle more than community developments. We tithe faithfully, but rarely see the money invested in black-owned banks, grocery stores, or housing developments. Our faith is strong, but our economy is fragile.
Have to put the black church to task and ask them, what are you doing with our Jesus money? Let me tell you what they're doing with your Jesus money. Every black church in America has their money in a white bank. It is the white banks that are funding the regentrification ethnic cleansing movement. So all of us go to church. We put $3 million in the church coffers every Sunday. $3 million goes to a white bank every Sunday. And guess what they do on Monday? They take $3 million of black people's white Jesus money and they give loans to white land developers and businesses and entrepreneurs to come into the ghetto where the church is located, buy up all the property, and force grandma out on the street homeless. Now, grandma been going to that church for 30 years. Grandma been giving that church $50 every Sunday. And lo and behold, grandma had to finally face the reality that it was your Jesus money that put your on the street.
That was an audio clip from Dr. Umar Johnson. Part of the problem is psychological. We've been conditioned to consume instead of create, conditioned to look stylish instead of building wealth. Our identity too often have been tied to symbols of status that loses value instead of investments that grow. We will finance a $70,000 car, but hesitate to invest $7,000 in a startup. We will buy a Gucci belt, but won't buy stock. We will rent an apartment for 30 years, but never buy property. Meanwhile, other groups arrive in this country with a plan. The Jews built an economic system that prioritized supporting Jewish businesses first. The Indians pool their money to open hotels and gas stations. Asians dominate entire industries by prioritizing their own people before selling to others. These communities don't just work hard, they work smart, collectively. They understand that wealth is not just about individual efforts, but also about group economics. So, why not us? Part of it is a trust issue. Too many of us have been burned by schemes, scams, and false prophets. So we shy away from supporting Black-owned ventures. But here's the hard truth. No community rises to economic power without first learning to trust itself. We cannot build if every effort is sabotaged by fear, envy, or the crab in the barrel mentality. Yes, the system is designed to keep us down, but there comes a point when we must stop using oppression as an excuse for disorganization. Other groups face barriers too, but they have turned communities into currency. We need to do the same. We must redirect the energy we pour into the church into corporations that serve us. We must teach our children not just to pray for blessings, but to plan for them. We must see wealth not as a dream, but as a discipline. Until we circulate our money within our neighborhoods and establish institutions that rival those built to exploit us, we will continue owning nothing but Jesus. And while faith may save our souls, it would never pay our bills. Let's discuss the blueprint from ownership of Jesus, ownership of wealth. If we are serious about breaking the cycle, critique must give way to building solutions. Diagnosing the problem isn't enough. We need clear plans. Here are the pillars we must establish if the Black community is ever going to move from merely surviving to thriving and achieving sovereignty. Number 1, circulate the Black dollar. We must intentionally spend money at Black businesses, grocery stores, clothing lines, restaurants, contractors, and banks. Even if it costs more, even if it requires effort, the sacrifice is an investment in our own empowerment. Money that remains in our communities help build schools, funds, scholarships, and create jobs. Number 2, shift from consumer to producers. Our children must learn that entrepreneurship is essential for survival instead of only aiming to be athletes or entertainers. We should promote careers for engineers, farmers, tech founders, investors. We need to control the supply chain, not just purchase from it. Number 3, own land and property. Land is power. Every generation that does not secure property leaves the next weaker. Whether through co-op communities, land trusts, or individual home ownership, we must reclaim space in our neighborhoods before gentrification prices us out completely. Number 4, invest in education and skill building, not just formal schooling, but also financial literacy, coding, trading, architectural, and global business. We need to prepare the next generation to be competitors in a global economy, not just participants in a local hustle. Number 5, build and trust our own institutions. We need our own credit unions, venture funds, trade schools, and co-op. And when they exist, we must support them instead of mistrusting them by default. Other communities grow because they trust their leaders to reinvest, not to exploit. We must foster the same trust. And finally, number 6, redefine wealth beyond status. We must reject the slave master definition of wealth as appearance. Wealth is freedom, ownership, and the ability to pass something down. A community that invests in Gucci before groceries will never be free. The Black community can no longer own Jesus while every other group own the block. Faith without work is dead. If we genuinely believe in liberation, then our worship must be paired with action that builds banks, businesses, schools, and safe neighborhoods. Our ancestors fought to free our bodies. Now it's our responsibility to free our economy. Only then will we stop being consumers in someone else's empire and start being rulers of our own destiny. Family, the time for excuses have passed. We can't keep pointing to the system while watching every other community build empires in front of our eyes. The truth is, we spend, but we don't circulate. We pray, but we don't plan. We own Jesus, but not the block. If we are serious about liberation, then our faith must be backed by action. Action that builds businesses, banks, landowners, and generational wealth. Because until the Black dollar works for us like it does for every other community, we will remain consumers in someone else's empire. This has been Movement, Rhythm, and Conversation. I'm your host, Tafari. Remember, unchain your mind, reclaim your soul. Now, let's also reclaim our economics.